Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020, and we will get started very shortly. Thanks for joining. Hello, and welcome to everyone in the chat. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020. We will get started very shortly here with what I think is a pretty serious topic, and I think it's going to take me a little while to work through it. So if you're looking for a long live stream, you found it. We'll get started momentarily. Thanks. Okay, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started because this is going to be a long, winding stream. So as people find their way in, they'll kind of slowly figure out what we're talking about and the conversation we're going to have. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Hi, you guys. How are you? How have you guys been doing? I'm laughing because I feel like we're going through so much as a world, really, but definitely as a country for sure. But I feel like we're going through so much. Like every day, there's something new being thrown at us that we're having to contend with. So, hi, everybody. Welcome. So tonight is going to be kind of interesting because this actually happens to me a lot. And that is, I have multiple things that I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to pull them apart and put them in videos, and it just doesn't work. Like it doesn't flow. So whenever that happens, I try to do live streams because I feel like my brain has it assembled already. And it becomes complicated when I'm trying to pull it out of its assembly and put it in a video format versus live. Isn't that weird? I think I've told you guys before, but when I'm recording, you would think I can't read, speak, talk, any of those things. It's insane. The amount of errors I experience when I'm making videos versus when I'm live, it just flows out. It's the strangest thing. And I think it has something to do with the fact that I have no choice in the live format. Like it's kind of do or die. When you're live versus when you're recording, you know you can go back and fix it, and that totally messes you up. It's so weird. Anyway, that's not why y'all are here. You are here for the title, which is Conspiracy Theories and the Stairway to Schizophrenia. Oh, we have a long conversation to have tonight, okay? And it's going to be in a little bit of a different format than usual. I don't have slides. All I have is my little Word document, and we're going to work through it, okay? Because basically, what you're looking at kind of are my thoughts that I was actually finally able, I'll actually show you. The real thoughts are all down here, all the paragraphs. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't flowing. I couldn't edit it together. So I scaled it down, pulled some things out, put it in order. And I said, we're just going to go through it like this because it's the only way I think I can walk through a subject or subjects like these. So again, if you're just joining, these two topics are really kind of separate to me, but they're also interwoven. And I feel like one is contributing to the other. So instead of me trying to make two different videos that are kind of related but not, I decided to just make one live stream where I'm kind of merging the two together. So this is going to be a nice long one. And for those of you who like the kind of deeper topics, we're going to go there in this stream. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ronald. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. You okay? Are you staying away from the COVIDs? I hope so. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. It's very good to see you. All right, you guys, so let's get into this. So tonight's topic is, or topics are, conspiracy theories and the stairway to schizophrenia. Okay. So let me tell you at least what prompted the topic, and then it'll make, hopefully the whole presentation will make more sense once you have the context of that. But basically, long story short, I've been feeling for a while that what we're seeing from people all over is kind of a form of a very public form of schizophrenia. Now, for those of you who are new or who might just be stumbling into the live for the first time, I'm not a doctor, medical professional, psychiatrist, psychologist, none of those things, okay? So this is all my opinion. I just want to make sure you guys know that. And I like thinking about these types of things because I feel like, and it's kind of ironic that I say this because this is how this stuff starts, but I feel like when we don't explore further, we lose the opportunity to maybe learn something that we did not know before regarding a topic. So anyway, before I get too far ahead of myself, tonight's topic is conspiracy theories and the stairway to schizophrenia, okay? I feel like what we're seeing is schizophrenia growing and on a grand scale. And I believe there is a cause. So what we're going to kind of walk through is what I believe the cause is, one of the causes anyway, what schizophrenia looks like, why I think that's what's happening, and why all of this matters at all, like why I would even bring this up at all, okay? And these are my notes that you're looking at that I just could not convert into a video. So we're here. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining. So first, let's start off with me. Those of you who have been with me for a while have heard me explicitly say, and it's still out there somewhere on video, that I identify as a conspiracy theorist. After giving this some thought, I really have to wonder, am I really a conspiracy theorist or am I just a theorist? Because when I compare myself to what I can call the conspiracy theorists, oh, I'm nowhere close. Like they're way off on another level, whole nother dimension, like far out there, right? Like I thought I was far out there. Compared to some other conspiracy theorists, I'm normal, okay? I just like to think. I like to think about things. I like to consider what we've been told. You know, I like to ponder. There's still big questions that I feel haven't been answered really. So that's kind of where I sit on the scale. But I like to think, or I would at least like to think, that I'm still firmly tethered to reality. I would like to think that, but I guess I'm not the one who could be the judge of that, right? But I would like to think that I'm still connected to reality to an extent. The ones I'm kind of talking about this evening are the ones I feel have disconnected from reality and moved on, okay? So I just want to put that out there. I don't want anyone to say, oh, you said you're a conspiracy theorist. Yes, I did. It's still on video somewhere out there in my body of work. But like I just said, I think mine is a little bit different, but who's to say, right? It remains to be seen. So I've mentioned it before. There's a reason I really don't bring it up much on this channel, Permission to Exist. So I do have another channel called A Deeper PTE. So 3 words, well, really 2 words and an acronym, A Deeper PTE. The channel is up. I think it has 4 or 5 videos, something like that, where I do go a little bit deeper into the spiritual aspect of things. I think I've only done really 1 conspiracy theory, and that was regarding whether or not aliens exist. And as the Pentagon recently confirmed, it looks like they might. At minimum, we know that unidentified flying objects exist, objects that they either can't name or won't name, but we won't get into that this evening. So, but yeah, I do lightly touch on it on my other channel. The reason I don't talk about it often on this channel are for 3 reasons. One of the main reasons I feel like they can be a problem is conspiracy theories are very, very hard to prove often. And a lot of the things that I believe that would make somebody call me a conspiracy theorist is something that it's a hunch. It's like a gut level it's like an instinct, and you can't really prove instinct. You can't. I just saw somebody say researched, and it's like you can't research. I mean, you can research your instinct. You can have a hunch and go follow it, see what you find. But my point is, I don't like to present things that at least can't be proven true, if that makes sense. I do want to maintain some level of not, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I want it to be valid. I want it to remain valid on this channel. On a deeper PTE, we can explore all kinds of things. But on here, I want to kind of keep it very close to valid. As you all know, I don't subscribe lockstep with the medical community on the topic of narcissism, because I feel, and this is my opinion, that they've done a huge disservice in many ways in the downplaying of narcissism. So I tend to deviate from them in that respect, okay? Thank you for the super chat. Ronald says, here's a little from my stimulus. Don't spend it all in one place. That is so generous and kind. I appreciate that. It is needed. Thank you so much. So that's one reason. I can't prove it. I just know it, but I can't prove it. And for those who've been following for a while, there have been a couple of theories that I feel like I've been correct on. I wouldn't call them conspiracy theories, though. They were just theories that centered, and they loop back, and I end up being right. So it's hard to say. But anyway, it's mainly because I can't prove it, or I just don't have the time to go prove it, right? The second reason I don't present conspiracy theories on this channel is because I'm really trying not to make it worse, guys. I'm really trying very hard not to make what we're getting ready to get into, the topic, I'm really trying hard not to make it worse, because I feel like there are a lot of YouTubers who are making it worse. And it's not just YouTubers. It's the YouTubers, it's the media, it's entertainment. There's a lot of people, individuals who are making it worse. And I don't want to make it worse, especially if I can't prove it. So I keep it to myself. I know you guys have heard me say that before, like, oh, I have thoughts, but I'm keeping them to myself. And the reason is because I don't want to make it worse. And the it that I'm talking about, we're going to look at in a second. I don't want to make it worse, okay? And that kind of leads me into point number 3, which is, listen, I just recognize that a lot of this stuff sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I do. And that's what makes me believe I'm still tethered to reality to some degree, because I can step back from my theories and go, wow, that sounds really crazy, PTE. That sounds nuts. And I actually can do that. The people that I'm worried about are the ones who can't take a step back and go, okay, that sounds crazy. Wow, that sounds really crazy. You know? So I recognize that a lot of the things that I believe are either are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or sound cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And for my majors out there, I am aware that this might be spelled Cuckoo. But I was afraid people would look at that and go, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. What? Because I looked it up. Because I was like, how do you spell cuckoo? And apparently the correct spelling is Cuckoo, something like that. But I was like, forget it. We're going with phonetics this evening. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I recognize that a lot of the theories and things that I think might be true sound crazy. And for that reason, I don't share them. And that's what at least makes me believe I still have at least one foot in reality, okay? And this is all going somewhere. So exactly, you guys have the right spelling. This is all leading up to somewhere, guys. We're going somewhere with this, okay? I just wanted to take my time and really pace myself and get my thoughts out, which is what I was trying to do on video, and it just wasn't working. So now we're getting into my primary issues with conspiracy theories on the whole, all right? Many of them, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, lead nowhere. You listen to them, you go check out a couple videos on the topic, and they don't really take you anywhere like anywhere new. And as a result, there's typically like no call to action. So on my channel, I would at least like to think that I don't spend the majority of my time simply complaining. I don't think I'm complaining. I think I'm often illustrating and then offering up a solution or offering up an alternative. So I really like to talk about things that I believe can be solved. So that would almost kind of go under the list of why I don't discuss them on the channel. A lot of them I feel like there's absolutely nothing we can do right now, at least not right now. There's nothing we can do. So to me, when a person or an individual keeps bringing something up over and over and over again that nothing can be done about, to me, at some point, it almost seems like you're enjoying the circumstance. Not that you're enjoying it. You have a right to express how you're feeling about something that's happening. But at some point, it's kind of like, okay, so what are we going to do now? Now what? Okay, you've laid all this out. You've made your case. Now what? Like, what are the next steps? Thank you for the super sticker, Ronald. Hey, that's stimulus. Don't spend all your stimulus over here. Y'all think we're going to get more. God help us all. So going back, it's very circular. They're fun at first until you realize that they're looping. Those of you who watch or follow or entertain conspiracy theories, over time, what you come to realize is that they are looping. And you're like, oh, it just kind of keeps going in a circle. You know what I mean? So it's like it gets you all stirred up, but okay, now what do we do? All right. Yes. Now what do we do? Right? So that leads me to my next bullet point, which is I find it to be one of the quick and easy pathways to insanity. And that's kind of the main point of this video. And what you guys are kind of seeing right now is why I couldn't separate these two topics. God, I tried so hard. I tried so hard. But they kind of belong together in a way. So that circular thought process, that circular reasoning, that getting all stirred up, but no call to action or nothing to do next, all of it kind of leading to nowhere new anyway. It's kind of like, okay, why are we here? What are we doing? But what I find happens is two things happen. There's two types of people. A person finds a new conspiracy theory. They dive all in, they go all in, they fall deep down the rabbit hole, right? Then once they realize they're hitting those circles, they kind of lose interest in it. Does that make sense? They're just like, yeah, I know about that. Yeah, I heard about that, But it makes no sense, or they can't make it make sense ultimately. So eventually they just kind of let it go. That's person type one. I think I'm kind of similar to that. Then you have people who, in spite of the fact that it's circular and there is no call to action and it's not leading anywhere, they just hold on to it. And like, that's it. And that's their philosophy and their doctrine. It doesn't make sense to them. They can't explain it, but that's it. Like, that's what they believe. And that's what they're sticking with and going with. And the reason that makes you crazy is, and once again, this is just my personal opinion, is I believe the mind has a strong need for resolution. I personally believe the mind has to resolve things. The mind has to make sense out of things. And when the mind can't, now we're starting down that pathway, that stairway to schizophrenia. Okay. That pathway to crazy is where we're headed. When your mind can't make sense of it and you just can't let it go, now we're on the crazy loop, on the cuckoo train, okay? And I'm not laughing at mental illness. I want you guys to know that. Y'all know that my sense of humor is out of control, okay? So let's move through. We got further to go. So y'all sit tight with me, okay? So I want to give some validations, okay? This is kind of like a validation / disclaimer. And this is more for anyone who's new or anyone who just got here. But once again, I've identified as a conspiracy theorist in the past, starting to question at least where on the spectrum I fall. I think I'm on the lower end. or I'm at least on the end that can get off of the ride. Like, okay, guys, this was fun. Thanks. No, that was a lot of fun. That was fun. And just kind of step off the merry-go-round and go on about my day. I'm one of the ones who can at least get off of the ride. But I want to validate and give disclaimers. So number one, I know for a fact we haven't been told the truth about everything. I know things have been hidden, destroyed, distorted, misrepresented, omitted. I'm very well aware. That's part of the reason I consider myself, at minimum, a theorist, but maybe somewhere on the conspiracy theorist spectrum. Okay. I know that there's things that are not true that we've been told. You could do a very small search on the internet and find out things that were once thought to be untrue that turned out to be true, right? Along those lines, the partial truths, telling a little bit of the story, but mixing in a huge piece of lie. I know that happens. Okay. I'm very well aware. And then even some confirmations. As of recently, I'm sure you all by now have seen the videos of I think they were some type of pilot, fighter jet pilots, I'm not sure. But they were looking at these objects that kept moving at were they breaking the sound barrier? I don't remember. But basically, it didn't make physical sense. Nothing on Earth could have built it, is basically what they were looking at. Going warp speed really fast, then just disappearing. The video came out months ago. People called it a hoax, called it fake or whatever. And then just a couple of days ago, the Pentagon declassified videos, basically saying, yes, this happened. We don't know what they are. They absolutely know what they are, but they have to tell us that they don't know. And that's fine. The simple fact that they're acknowledging there are objects and items out there that we don't have we're telling you we don't have 100% grip on what they are is enough for me to go, okay, then there's more to the story, right? So I say all that to basically say, I don't want anyone to think, because, people love to hear what they want to hear. When it comes to me, somebody will walk away going, oh, F you just don't like conspiracy theories. And I'm like, if you could see my search history, honey, God, if you could see my search history, you don't get it. Like this opinion has been formed over time. This is not an opinion I woke up this morning and said, oh, I'm going to do a live stream on conspiracy theories and the stairway to schizophrenia. That's an opinion that's been forming over a long time. Okay. So I just wanted to validate and say, I'm not saying anyone is wrong or foolish for thinking what they do or for believing conspiracy theories, for researching them. I think it's good for us to look into these things, because for the first time in history, we really have a chance. Whereas in the past, we really didn't. We had to take everything at face value because all we had were books, newspapers, television, and radio. For a long time, that's what it was. So now that we have the ability to not only search what's out there, but also post information that we find, it's like we create our own repository of information. So yes, you need to look into it. But there is a danger in this. And that's kind of what the point of this whole live stream is. It can make someone who does not have at least 1 foot in reality very, very, very unwell. Very unwell. And the more I reflect on it, everyone I've ever called unwell on this channel, I believe this is what has happened to them. Okay. And we're going to get into that. But when I say unwell, I mean it. Deeply unwell. I mean it. And this is how it happens. I believe many live streams ago, maybe even a couple years ago, I said that we don't check in on people the way that we need to. And we need to check in on people's minds, because people's minds are out here crafting all kinds of scenarios that take them down pathways that never bring them back. And you would never know it unless you start a conversation with them. Top of the mind, remember? Remember we talked about top of the mind obsessions? This is sort of kind of what I was getting at, just a little bit, but not so much on the conspiracy side. So let's move on to the next bullet point. Hey to everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you so much. So And this is actually kind of disappointing to me. So we're on the bullet that says borderline cliche. I remember when I first fell down the conspiracy rabbit holes. Like, I was so excited. I was learning all this new stuff. It's like my eyes were opening. It was amazing. It was incredible. And then as more and more people caught on to it and more people started talking about it, and as it became more and more circular, and it was leading to fewer and fewer places, and there's really like no call to action, nothing to do, a lot of the conspiracies have become cliche now. Like, one of the most cliche conspiracies to me now is the Illuminati. It's so cliche, which I'm sure the Illuminati appreciates, but we're not getting into that. That's not the point of this live stream. Because of course you would want a clandestine operation, you would want people to think it's fake. And to the point where they're making fun of it. Yeah, ha, keep making fun of it. Yep. But my point is, it's like, if that's the conclusion you keep reaching over and over and over again, eventually, like, people are just not going to take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a thunderstorm, it was the Illuminati. If there's a train wreck, it was the Illuminati. You know, if a mama dog has puppies, that was the Illuminati. You know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? We had a pink moon the other night. That was the Illuminati. Like, eventually everything's and everything is not. And that's kind of my point. Everything is not. Like, oh, it's so complicated, y'all. This is why I couldn't do the video. It's so complicated. When you make things cliche and you just paint things like, this is always the answer, this is always the answer, this is always the answer, eventually I'm going to look at you and go, okay, well, if that's the answer, what do we do now? Now, what do we do? What do we do? Like, okay, it's the Illuminati. Okay, what do we do? Let's go rush the Illuminati. Let's pull up on the Illuminati. Where are they? What do we do? Oh, I know what we do. We run back to their organizations that we've been kicked out of for a couple of months. We rush back because we can't wait to get back because we hate them so much, right? You see how y'all confuse me? You confuse me. You blame everything on the Illuminati. And then when we get kicked out of the Illuminati's organizations for a couple of months, you want to go back. You're like desperate to get back. I don't get it. It's like, if ever there were a time for you to take on this Illuminati, this would be it. This would be it. But you run back to their arms. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're not talking about that this evening. The point I'm trying to make is, a lot of these conspiracies become cliche over time. And we're going to take a look at that. Okay? And I want you all to understand that it's not that I don't believe in that clandestine organization that's behind the scenes. Trust me. Listen, if I could share my search history with you guys, we got so much to talk about. We really do. But the reason I don't talk about it is because now what? Like, and then what? Okay. All right. We solved that. Now what? Do you see what I mean? Like, it's frustrating. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's frustrating to me. It's frustrating because if we're not going to take any type of action to offset what we believe to be true, then we're just telling each other fairy tales, basically. So kind of going into more of it just a little bit, a lot of times they're non-sequential and illogical. Okay. And many of the videos that come out like on YouTube are nothing more than rehashings of what other people have said or compilations of what other people have said. And I hate those compilations more than anything else in life. I cannot stand it. I want the analysis. Stop taking all these little clips from here, a clip from there, a clip from here, a clip from 1982, clip, and there's no cohesion to it. And that's kind of what leads me to believe that schizophrenia is kicking in, okay? But I will say this, before YouTube went all soft and made it to where it's like candy corn land, you could find some really hardcore, good stuff on YouTube, conspiracy-wise, but then they suppressed it all. So some of those channels got deleted altogether. Some of them, I just can't remember who they are. And I'll never see them again because the algorithm has completely suppressed them to the bottom. because they're not official sources. Don't get me started, y'all. Do not. I might have to do a whole stream on that. Don't get me started. So, and I'm going to scroll up in a minute. I'm leaving it there for a reason, because we're going to do a word problem together. So, when I'm reviewing conspiracy content and I'm looking through this kind of stuff, what I'm looking for are connections that have not been made yet, like patterns people aren't seeing. I'm looking for aha moments, and I'm looking for eureka moments. And I feel like those used to happen in the beginning, but now it just doesn't happen anymore. It's all the same. Like it's looping. And to me, there is a downside to that in the fact that if you have someone's ear who may not be a conspiracy theorist, and you present to them all these twisting, winding, disconnected, illogical arguments, statements, pieces of evidence, even if they want to understand you, they can't. And they're going to think that you are indeed cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay. So I'm going somewhere with all this. Okay. And here's what I mean by this, guys. And I guarantee any one of you could do this if you're so inclined. You could do it at home. You could drop it in the chat if you want to. Or if you're watching this on a playback, you could leave a comment on the playback in the comment section. But any of you can do this, and we're going to do this. All right. So here's how I feel when it comes to the conspiracy content of today. Here's how I feel. Here's what I feel is happening. Okay. We're just looking at this little gray box that's on the screen. Y'all see that? So pretty much any video, any conversation goes something like, Illuminati, Freemasons, 5G towers, blood sacrifice, population control, Agenda 21.5.76.489, Georgia Guidestone, Clinton's emails. Today is Monday, May 11th. That's 5 and 11. That makes 16 for your number 7. Tell me I'm lying, y'all. Tell me I'm lying. Like, tell me I'm lying. Like, am I lying, y'all? Like, and again, it's not that I don't believe you. You have to understand who you're talking to. It's not that I don't believe you. It's that you have to make it make sense. You have to make it make sense. And when you hit me with this type of stuff right here, like the comment, the comment says, as soon as it hits numerology, I'm out. I can't do the numerology, y'all. Oh my gosh. It'll be like, yeah, she was 21 years old. That's 2 and you're 1 for your number 3. I'm like, what other numbers are there though? Like, there's it's like there's only the numbers 0 through 9. Listen, and again, I don't want y'all to think I'm mocking, downplaying, making fun of conspiracy theorists. Because again, if you knew who you were talking to, you would understand that I have no room to talk. I just don't share them because, again, I don't want to make the situation worse. I can't prove anything that I believe. And I recognize that a lot of the stuff that I think might be true sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to greater society. So I keep it to myself. So, however, even with that, though, the thoughts that I do have are organized and sequential. You know, if I wanted to put them out on paper, I could and hopefully make a pretty decent argument. But this is typically what I'm getting, that little gray box y'all are looking at there. Blank, 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 Illuminati, blank, 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 but blank, the Freemasons, blank, 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 5G, blank, 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 blank. Oh, I forgot RFID chip. Forgot to put that in there. Blank, 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 blood sacrifice, blank, blank, blanky, blank, population. All these are going to get this video flagged, but it was worth it to me. It's fine. Blank, blank, blankety, blank, blank, agenda 21.5.7.6.8. I'm like, oh my God. The Georgia guys, I'm very aware of the Georgia Guidestones and what they say. Like, I totally get it. Like, I got it. Like, it's not that I don't believe y'all. It's not that I don't believe you might be on to something. However, you have to recognize when you're starting to lose that grip on reality, or when you should at least say to yourself, okay, I have all this information. I believe it to be true, but right now I can't really do anything with it. So I'm going to table it. I'm going to put it on the shelf for future reference. And you don't let it dominate your whole life. So that's kind of where also I think the unwellness starts to creep in. When these thoughts start to dominate a person's whole life, you'll be like, hey, how are you today? Oh, doing great, except for the 5G towers that are getting ready to give me cancer and make my eyeballs pop out. How are you? I'm like, I'm doing great. Can't complain. Just ducking the coronas. That's it. Just ducking the coronas. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where are you guys? Where are you guys with all this? I hope I'm not offending anyone, because I don't intend to. And one day when I feel really free, we will sit and I'll just get into some of the deepest, the things that I believe, y'all. And some of them I've never even heard on the internet before. It's stuff that I came up with on my own. Just after deep thought, I'm like, what if? No, don't tell anybody that. They might try to commit you, right? Some people would say that the demonic possession of narcissists is an extreme theory. I don't think it is, based on what we've seen out of these people. I don't think it's extreme at all, but I believe in the spiritual realm. So if you don't believe in the spiritual realm already, anything spiritual is going to sound crazy to you. But a lot of my theories are spiritually based, because I just think that we are in for a huge surprise, you guys. I'll say that much. I think we are in for a huge surprise. And I think that we all stand a great chance of seeing it in our lifetime. That's what I think. And I'll leave it at that. So let's move on. You can do that word problem on your own. You can do it in your free time if you'd like. Sketch it out, brainstorm it out, fill in those blanks yourself. You could start a YouTube career off this little blurb right here. I'm telling you. How many? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 different topics right there for you. And all you have to do is string together sentences, fill in those blanks and string together the sentences, and you can have a YouTube career. And yes, you can thank permission to exist for it. I got you started. Okay. So let's keep going. There's more. I'm setting the context here. Okay. So now let's move into what I consider to be the greater concern here. Okay. And that is, I personally believe that as an end result of not these topics, these are just examples. It's this pattern of thinking, the hopping from one to one to one to the next, and then back around again. Personally, I believe is creating schizophrenia en masse in our society. Let's talk about it for a second. And I do believe one news network is responsible for like 90% of it, 90% of it. And it's really sad to see. And I've said that before. As I've said, it's a crime against humanity, what they've done to those people, because they were in many ways defenseless, because their minds were not fortified to begin with. So you take an unfortified mind and fill it with these looping, endlessly illogical thoughts, and you made all these people schizophrenic nationwide. So let's take a look at it together. Schizophrenia, a disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly. The exact cause of schizophrenia isn't known, but a combination of genetics, environment, and altered brain chemistry and structure may play a role. Schizophrenia is characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, disorganized speech or behavior, and decreased participation in daily activities. Difficulty with concentration and memory may also be present. Treatment is usually lifelong and often involves a combination of medications, psychotherapy, and coordinated specialty care services. Excuse me. So in the past, at least for the common person, I think when we thought of somebody who had schizophrenia, we pictured someone who's talking to themselves, who, believes space aliens are out to get them, or maybe have even gotten them and brought them back. We picture what we would visualize to be a really like an insane person or someone who's not mentally well. What I'm proposing for the medical community to go study is that schizophrenia can be created in a person. You can actually make someone schizophrenic, okay? And as it says up top, and we'll see it again, the cause of it isn't known. They don't know, y'all. They think it's genetics, environment, brain chemistry, and structure, but they don't know. And that they don't know, well, let me offer you a possible explanation. A person can be made crazy, and we're going to talk about it. Sorry, let me not say crazy, because that's not actually politically correct. I'm supposed to say schizophrenic, because that's what it is. A person can be made schizophrenic, in my personal opinion, and I feel like I'm going to prove it to you right now. So let's look at some of the symptoms. I highlighted the ones that I feel are related to conspiracy theory and what conspiracy theories do over time to people who don't have 1 foot tethered to reality, okay? Behavioral, social isolation, disorganized behavior, aggression, agitation, compulsive behavior, excitability, hostility, repetitive movements, self-harm, or lack of restraint. Cognitive, we have thought disorders, delusion, amnesia, belief that an ordinary event has special and personal meaning, belief that thoughts aren't one's own, disorientation, mental confusion, slowness in activity, or false belief of superiority. Mood, anger, anxiety, apathy, feeling detached from self, general discontent, loss of interest or pleasure in activities, elevated mood, or inappropriate emotional response. Psychological, put this there. Hallucination, paranoia, hearing voices, depression, fear, persecutory delusion, or religious delusion. Speech. Oh, I forgot to put this on here. Circumstantial speech, incoherent speech, circumstantial speech, incoherent speech, rapid and frenzied speaking, or speech disorder. Okay. So I had never heard of circumstantial speech before. So I'm going to look it up really quick and let Siri tell us. Hey, Siri, what is circumstantial speech?
Circumstantial speech, also referred to as circumstantiality, is the result of a so-called nonlinear thought pattern and occurs when the focus of a conversation drifts, but often comes back to the point. Want to hear more?
No, thank you. Dang it, but she closes it. I wanted her to leave it on the screen. Let me just pull it up on Google. Circumstantial speech. Basically talking in circles, like it sounds. It says circumstantial speech, also referred to as circumstantiality, is a communication disorder in which the focus of a conversation drifts, but often comes back to the point. In circumstantiality, unnecessary details and irrelevant remarks cause a delay in getting to the point. And as Siri said, a non-linear thought pattern. So you're not thinking in a straight line. Okay. And when you look at some of the things, some of the comments that are written to me, you know, in regard to everything that's going on and the different conspiracies around them, I just want to write back to the person so bad and say, I appreciate what you're trying to share with me, but you have to understand that it's just not making sense. Like, oh, I wish I could explain it better than I'm explaining it right now. But this is what it is. It's like, it's circumstantial. It's not very coherent. It's frenzied. It's filled with paranoias. And I'm like, I want to understand. Believe me, I feel like the reason I'm such a YouTube junkie is because I'm still searching for the answers for the questions that I have. I'm still looking. And I search endlessly, trying to find answers that just have that one aha moment, like, oh my God, that's it. That's it. Okay. So then once again, it says the exact causes of schizophrenia are unknown. Research suggests a combination of physical, genetic, psychological, and environmental factors can make a person more likely to develop the condition. Some people may be prone to schizophrenia, and a stressful or emotional life event might trigger a psychotic episode, okay? So of course, I'm acknowledging the other reasons. I'm acknowledging the research that's gone into schizophrenia. I'm not downplaying it or discounting it or even arguing with it. All I'm saying is your opening line is the exact causes are unknown. So I would like to offer you a potential cause, and one of the potential causes could be this behavior here. Now, obviously, schizophrenia has been around before the internet. So I don't know what made it happen in the past. Maybe something similar, but on a smaller scale. Hey, thank you for the super chat, Ronald. It says, my mom was schiz. You told me an incident that I think brought it on. I told you an incident that you think brought it on? Thank you for the super chat. I think personally, I believe a person's mind can be made this way. And I also think you can play with the person's mind until they become this way. I do. And I think the only way for the people it can be induced upon, the only way to fight it is to constantly think and question and ask questions and try to make it make sense. Like when we just accept, like, yeah, the Illuminati Freemasons with the 5G. It's like, did that make sense to you just now? Well, no, but, you know, they had a blood sacrifice for population control. Okay. Now what? Well, I don't know, but we better not take that chip. Now that I agree with you on. You better not take that chip. I won't be taking any goddamn chips. I will be starving. But anyway, let's see here. Where was I? Okay, yeah. Okay, so we did all that. We did these. Okay, so all the highlighted ones are the ones I feel like are connected to what I'm trying to say here, basically, to the point that I'm trying to make, which is that schizophrenia can be created, and it can be created in mass. Okay? So why are we here, and what's the whole point of this whole live stream? Like, why am I even doing this? Several reasons. One, it's because I've witnessed the downward spiral of multiple individuals who I had a lot of respect for, people who I thought were very smart, very intelligent, very well put together mentally. I've witnessed their minds spiral downward as a result of this stuff, and there is no getting them back. They're not coming back. They're not coming back because they've been gone for years. You understand? There's some people who took a temporary drift, like a temporary tour, but they came on back, or they just kind of hold it in the back of their mind like, noted. Okay, yeah, noted. But it doesn't dominate their thought process. The people I'm talking about, I've witnessed it dominate their thought process. Okay? And it can happen with any topic. So the individuals in our society who I feel like we're having the most problems out of are individuals like these. If you could crack their skull open and see their thoughts, they would look just like that, just scrambled and winding, twisting, winding, turning down different pathways, looping back again. Like, I'm telling you, that's what we would see. Either that or nothing at all, one or the other. But I think if anyone is this deep off the deep end, they have some type of thought process. So I don't think these are our empty seaters, right? But it can happen with any topic. And typically what happens when you get so frustrated because you can't figure something out, you get angry. Wouldn't you be angry if the only thoughts running through your mind all day were about Illuminati Freemasons with the 5G towers and blood sacrifices? Wouldn't you be mad too? Wouldn't you be frustrated? Especially when it's like, it comes back to that main question, which is, okay, now what? Now what do we do? You see what I mean? And that's not to say that we do nothing. I'm not saying, okay, do nothing. I'm saying, okay, now what? Now what do we do? You see what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So again, I've seen what I consider to be very healthy people spiral downward to a place, to an abyss that there's no getting them back. They will never come out of that, ever. There's no walking them backwards out of it. And that's my concern. It's like, once they're gone forever. Okay. So that's one concern. It can happen with any topic. So again, these pockets, these little cells that we have problems out of in our society, most of them are like this. They just sit and they spin their doctrines all day long. That's it. And they generally kick out critical thinkers. So it's like, you're either going to be as sick as we are, or you can't stay around here. You got to go. You understand? So here's another reason why this matters so much. And this kind of brings it to our current climate. I'm very, very concerned that there's going to reach a point in time. I feel like actually we're already here, where now we no longer can differentiate between fact and fiction. Because as soon as we're told one thing, the conspiracy theorists are out with the opposite. Told something else, the theorists are out with the opposite. Told something else, the theorists are out with the opposite. Told this, the theorists are out with the opposite. One football team wins the Super Bowl, the theorists are out with the opposite. You understand? Like, and to me, it almost feels like you're not really on to anything. You just run counter to everything. So anything that happens, you're just going to run the counter narrative to it, which is fun, sure. But you're making people unhealthy, and it's getting to the point where people can't differentiate between fact and fiction. People don't know what's true anymore, man. Even me, I'm like, every day I look at the news, or read it rather, and I'm like, okay, well, I hope that's true, or I hope that's not true. Like, we're getting so many conflicting messages from our so-called official sources. And then our unofficial sources, their messages are all conflicting. And I feel like we're creating an environment where people are not going to be able to even know what to do anymore. They're just going to be frozen. It's like, well, people are saying this is real. The doctors are saying it's real, but the conspiracy theorists are saying that it's not, and should I do this? Should I go back to work? Should I go out? Should I stay home? I don't know what to do. Like, do you see what I mean? And then it's like, if you're wrong, you've put all these people in jeopardy. Now, we are adults. We're supposed to be able to think critically and make decisions for ourselves. But how can you think critically when you're getting so much conflicting information from so many different places? Okay. Which is kind of what leads to those questions right below that. Who do we trust? Okay, so if we can't trust them, who do we trust? If we don't believe them, who do we believe? If that's not credible, what is credible? And that's not PTE saying, trust the news, trust the media, trust the talking heads they put in front of you. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is, if we don't have them to trust, and our conspiracy theorists are all over the place, who are we supposed to listen to? Where do we go for our information? What information is factual? Do you understand what I'm saying? But along those lines, here's one of my concerns. So I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction for you. And it's already kind of happening, but I think it's actually going to get far worse than we could ever imagine. And it's going to be a sad day too. It's going to be a sad day. But what's going to happen is this. The information is going to get to a point where it's so diluted with conflicting voices. And this is true. This is not true. That's true. That's not true. Oh, he's an agent. She's an agent. He's not, you know what I mean? And I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. They're going to take this internet away from us, you guys. They are going to take this internet away from us. They are. They are. And it's going to be limited to things like online shopping. You'll be able to pay your bills. You'll be able to watch TV shows, pre-approved TV shows that have been manufactured in the studio. You'll be able to watch those on your internet. Do your banking. You'll be able to basically do everything but create your own content and broadcast it. And the reason is because it's twofold. Because number one, it is contributing to the creation of deeply unwell human beings. It is. There's just no denying that. There's no denying it. And those people are going to get tired of y'all running counter to their narratives. They're going to get tired of it, not only because, they're control freaks and they want to be the only voice, in the population, because for a long time it worked. Look at the 80s and 90s. We were chilling for the most part because we were all kind of in this like sweet little bubble created by the media, really. TV, movies, internet wasn't really a thing yet. Music, like the wholesomeness could be cultivated. You can't cultivate wholesomeness right now if you try. And that's part of the problem. They can no longer cultivate the society that they want because now it's anybody's ball game. Anybody's ball game. So that's going to be one of the reasons. But one of the main reasons, I think, and I could almost see the argument would be, guys, we are alive. So what that means is things can happen to our bodies, right? So without regard to how you feel about, I'm trying to give it a nickname. People call it the sickness. I'll say the sickness. Without regard to how you feel about the sickness that is upon us right now. We can't deny that we are biological beings, human beings. We live and we die, and things happen to our bodies over the course of that, right? And as a result, there are going to be times when we have to do things to protect our bodies, right? And if it gets to the point where the medical professionals cannot get through to people because the conspiracy theorist voices are too loud, they are going to snatch this internet away from all of us. I'm telling you what I feel and what I see in my spirit. They're going to take it because they're going to say that we can't be trusted with our free speech. I'm telling you. And I know that frightens many of you, but it's, in a way, it's kind of true, you guys. Like when I witness people who I consider to be mentally healthy and normal spiral downward as a result of a commitment to just one news network, just one. And there's no, like my friend is gone. Like it's just their shell there now. This is a shell of that person. But when I'm looking into their eyes, they are gone. My friend is gone. And not only that, now we no longer have like official sources that we trust information coming from. You see what I mean? So it's not that I'm saying we shouldn't speak up and use our voice and speak out. Oh, I'm totally for that. What I'm saying is the more we do it in a disorganized, illogical, circular, frantic fashion, the more they're going to be like, you know what? We just can't trust these people anymore. And they've been yanking people's videos that go against the official declarations. And I'm not saying that that's good, guys. I think that's kind of bad, because we have learned a lot of truth as a result of independent journalists and independent researchers and thinkers. We've gained a lot of truth from them. So I guess what I'm saying is, especially for those who create content, you have to be responsible with this. You can't just hear something and then just run and make a video about it. And all you're doing is just repeating all the little pieces that you've heard other people say. If your video leaves people going, okay, now what? You probably shouldn't make it, because that's a problem. Like, their brain is going to try to figure out the answer to that question. You have to be responsible with this, because they are going to snatch up this internet because of all this. I'm telling you, because it creates a situation where, I hate to say it this way, but you no longer have control over your population. And I know that you hear the word control and go, well, we don't want them to have control over us. Oh, there's some things you kind of sort of do, though. For example, if there's a natural disaster coming and it gets to the point where the conspiracy theorists can convince you there's no such thing as tornadoes or there's no such thing as hurricanes, stay home. And the officials are saying, get out, leave. And you're like, you're an agent of the Freemason Illuminati and I will not leave. And they're like, sir, this whole area is getting ready to flood. Oh, yeah, because you turned on the 5G towers to make it flood out here. Yeah, you did. It's like, sir, we're not going to force you, but we're not coming to help you when your house floods. My house won't flood. This is a hoax. 3 hours later, he's on his roof. You see what I'm saying? Like, there are things that are still real. You know? So it's kind of like, here's what I'll close on, because I think I was about done anyway. Oh yeah, long-term outcomes. Here's what I'll close on. We have to determine we have to determine how we are going to hold on to reality. How are we going to maintain our grip on what is actually real? Because more and more each day, like literally something will come out in the news and I just sit back and go, give it like 3 hours, there'll be a video out saying that none of it's true. And again, it's not that I don't believe the news media lies. Wait, did I say that right? It's not that I don't believe they don't lie. I'm messing up my negatives. Basically, I know that they lie sometimes, is what I'm trying to say. I know they lie sometimes, but guess what? They also tell the truth too, guys. For example, when I was in middle school, I was in a train wreck. An Amtrak train wreck. Now, if you took that same Amtrak train wreck today with middle schoolers on it, we survived, by the way. Sorry, I left out major details. I'm just like, oh yeah, I was in a train wreck. No, I was actually in a train wreck. A semi-truck tried to cross the tracks and stalled out, couldn't get all the way across. Train couldn't stop. Lead car hit it, flipped over. Second car flipped, and our car was kind of jacked up, kind of in between the second car and the fourth car, right? My best friend was sitting next to me. She fell over on top of me. All this luggage fell over on top of us. It was insane. It was crazy. Everyone lived. Nobody died. So that's good news. And we weren't far from home. So, I mean, yeah, looking back, it was pretty horrifying. But in the moment, it's so weird how you are in the moment. You're just like 1 minute we're riding, next minute we're like grinding, and I see like dirt, and I'm like, what is going on? And then my best friend falls over on top of me. I'm like, what is happening? So you don't even realize the seriousness of it when it's happening. But my point is, if you took that same event and reported it today, the conspiracy theorists will come out immediately and say, there was no train wreck. All of those kids are being trafficked. None of them are real. They're all fake. They're all crisis actors. And it's like, no, we actually really were in a train wreck. You see what I mean? Like things really do happen. So I'm not saying to stop questioning. Always question. Always ask questions. Always raise your hand and ask your questions. Speak your piece. But make sure, especially if you're a content creator, you're not just circling people down the drain, because you're actually making them crazy and you're contributing to a growing thing. I don't know what to call it, but it's like a growing thing. And I'll describe it to you this way. When this all first started happening with the sickness, right? And it first came down, everyone was fine with sheltering in place initially, right? Then all it took was one conspiracy theorist on a popular news network to say, you know what? I don't think we're supposed to be doing this. I don't think we're supposed to be doing this. We're not supposed to be doing this. And next thing you know, everybody, no, we're not supposed to be doing this. We're not supposed to be doing this. But like 2 weeks ago, you were like, stay home to save lives. Alone together. Stay at home alone with me together. 2 weeks prior, live streaming, Zoom happy hours, happy. They do whatever they're told is my point. These minds that can be taken this way. And so it's kind of like there is a responsibility there to make sure you're not contributing to the mental unwellness of people, because they just drift in the wind, whatever. But it's not just them. I'm singling them out, but it's anyone who really is deep off the conspiracy wheel. Okay. And the whole reason I brought it up is because it can make healthy people deeply unwell. It can happen on pretty much virtually any subject. And honestly, I think this is what makes people extremists, to be honest with you. And when I use that term, I mean it. Whatever you can become extreme in, I think this is how it happens. You just go off the deep end, like your mind just spirals and loops and it never finds its way back out. And no one can help you get out of that abyss. I'm concerned that it's blurring the lines between fact and fiction. I'm concerned that we as a people won't know who we're supposed to be trusting anymore or listening to. And I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question. You know, it leaves people with the feeling of what are we supposed to do now, when typically the answer is, what can you do? And that's the problem with a lot of these conspiracy theories. It's like, okay, to me, it's almost like when you're done with the conspiracy theory, you just walk away going, man, I'm really small in this world. I have no ability to influence that big thing that we just discovered. You know what I mean? Like it almost makes you feel helpless in a way, you know? And I don't like feeling helpless. I don't. And then ultimately, I believe that if we're not careful with this and if we're not more responsible, even though it's not just us, the people, it's also major news networks that are responsible for this, but they'll take it from us. They'll never take it from them, but they will snatch it away from us. So just make sure you're making sense out here. Make sure you're not contributing to the overall crazy. These are my very extended, long thoughts on this topic. I'm like, these people are making people insane. They're going nuts. And I think this is part of how it happens. Okay. It's fun. You get tons of views off conspiracy theories because everyone is searching for answers. But I think what content creators have to be aware of is that everyone is not well enough to handle all this stuff coming at them. Everyone's not well enough for that. Whew. So anyway, kind of a weird stream for us to do, but I felt like it's related. I feel like this is related to narcissism. I do. You know, in a roundabout sort of way. So anyway, how are you guys doing? That's pretty much all I had to say on this. You know, the summary, high level, too long, didn't read. Conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists are contributing to high levels of schizophrenia in our society. There you go. So to figure out how I came to that conclusion, watch this playback. I actually want to go through a couple of your comments because I'm sure that there are some really, really good, well, there are always good ones in there, but I'm sure on this particular stream, I've missed some really good ones. So give me 1 second. Let me just take like a 30-second break and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, let me find my comment so I can take it off. Let me switch. Oh man, here we go. Boom. Okay, I'm just going to go through a few of your comments and then we'll get out of here, guys. Hello and welcome. It's been a long time since we've done a live stream together. It's been like a month or so. Let's see. Yes, always do your own research. Always use the videos and things as prompts. But I think the way that we keep our grip on reality and sanity, at least for your own mind, is to see it with your own eyes and do your own research. I think the people who become the way that I was talking about never do. They just listen to whatever they hear. Their brain just kind of lumps it all up together up there. And then they think that that's truth and it's not necessarily. Let's see. Yeah, it is under attack. And I have such complicated feelings about this topic, free speech, such complicated topics. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, the most important thing is protecting it. But what do you do when that free speech is making people unwell? Like demonstrably, like we could actually get some scientists together, some researchers, but then people wouldn't trust the scientists or the researchers or the institutions that they came from. It's like, hey, we assembled this team from all across the globe. Oh, the globe, New World Order. Like, well, no, we just wanted to have a diverse panel of researchers. Don't get me started. That's my main question, though. Yes, it should be protected above. It should be protected, but what do you do when it's starting to make people unhealthy mentally, which I don't think anyone saw coming. I don't think anyone ever thought that someone else's free speech could make someone else deeply unwell. So what do you do when that's the case? Let's see. Going through your comments. You say it's actually possible to stop the internet now? Was that a question or a statement? I think it was probably a statement. Yeah, I believe it. I'm concerned about it too. Like, I'm concerned that it's just going to get to a point where literally all you can do is pay your bills and things. Pay your bills, but there'll be no more social. Because remember, for the longest, there was no social media. And then it came out of not out of nowhere, but it popped in, meaning it wasn't part of the original model. So we're kind of living the experiment right now. We're getting to see what happens when people are able to freely exchange ideas with no regulation. Basically, what happens? What are the benefits of that? And what are the fallouts of that? Let's see. Frozen. Yes. It says, yes, frozen is the right word for exactly what's happening to us right now. Because it's like, I've been wondering about people who identify as traditionally conservative or even right wing, who have individuals in their family who are not, quote unquote, healthy. They're alive. They're just not, healthy. Who are kind of now sitting back going, man, like, so my grandmother doesn't matter? That's my meemaw. My meemaw doesn't matter to you? I don't want my meemaw to get sick and die. My G-paw, you want him to go back to work and potentially, you see what I mean? Like, you see the conflict? And so it's like people are completely frozen. And I wonder about them specifically because that's the group we've seen pivot, like 180-degree turn on this whole thing. And how many of them are now having ethical, moral conflicts, maybe for the first time. Like, wow, like, so my health means nothing to you. My family's health means nothing to you. Wow. Like, I wonder how many scales are falling off eyes right now. But yes, collectively, though, as a whole group, we're frozen. And a lot of that has to do with the information we did receive, because do y'all remember it was changing by the week? It was like, initially it was like, no, everybody don't go out and buy masks because you will short the supply chain, which is exactly what happened. But it turned from don't run out and buy masks because you'll short the supply chain to everybody needs to wear a facial covering now. So what are we supposed to believe, guys? Who the hell are we supposed to be listening to? You see what I mean? We're frozen. We are so frozen. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. The media is doing the same thing. That's why I'm concerned overall, for those who already maybe didn't have a firm grip in reality. And now we're doing all this. Oh, I'm worried about our society, guys. I'm so worried. I don't have a very optimistic outlook as much as I used to anymore. And I don't want to burden you all with my pessimism. So all I'll say is I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. I don't think we're headed in a positive direction. And obviously, my channel's about narcissism. I've had my concerns for a while. But the thing about like before all of this and now is that I actually, and hopefully you can hear it in my videos, I believed for better. Like I would state the problem, say why it's a problem and what we could do to make it better or fix it. Or if we couldn't fix it, what you could at least do to protect yourself. And I guess what I'm saying is I no longer know how to tell you how to protect yourself. I don't know. Like this is a beast that we are dealing with that we've never seen anything like this before. Never. So I actually don't know how to tell you to protect yourself anymore. And it bothers me because I'm kind of at a loss. Let's see. True. Very true. It says that's because YouTube is a private business. Blockchain-like decentralized systems are already in place. People will move to it. Yes. I do predict that YouTube is going to fall. Not immediately, because as we've learned, if you build something big enough, you never actually really have to go out of business. You just reach your hand out and say, hey, my business is too big to go out of business. I need money. And they'll give it to you. And you'll just be around indefinitely because, some of us don't ever have to actually pay for the consequence of our actions. So they'll hang in there for as long as their investors do. But people are getting tired. Creators are getting tired. I know I'm getting tired of YouTube and their antics. I'm tired of feeling like basically a child on the platform, both as a creator and as a viewer. Because it's like, if I want to go watch, like, what I think they need to do is kind of like how everything else is. Hey, the following content has been rated for viewers 18 years old and older. Do you wish to proceed? And yes, like if you want to proceed and you're 18 and older, you do it. If you don't, you move on. Or this content has been identified as extremist content featuring blank. Do you wish to proceed? Oh, no, I don't want to see anything like that. Move on. You see what I mean? Like, to give us back the choice of what we want to watch versus you just deciding, oh, that's just a little bit too adult for you. But I'm an adult. Yeah, but we just want to keep things positive on YouTube. This is a family-friendly platform. Okay, so I'll make a family channel. Ooh, are you going to be featuring kids? Well, I mean, maybe it's a family channel. Ooh, that's no problem, but we're just not going to monetize you. You can't ever monetize, and your fans can't comment under your videos. But I thought you said it was a family-friendly platform. It is. People are going to get sick of that. I need BitChute to get their act together so we can start moving our content over to BitChute to where we can act like adults again. Because, yeah, you're right. It is a private platform. You're absolutely correct. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I've watched the views of pretty much everyone I watch go down. And I think it's weird because some of the people I watch have like over 1 million subs. And almost all of us are limited to about 10 to 12% of our audience in terms of views. I think it's insane. I'm like, how does someone with 100,000 subs get 10,000 views on a video? That makes no sense at all. No sense. So there's 100,000 people interested in this person's content, but only 10% of them are interested in that video consistently. That makes no sense to me. That tells me you're not pushing their video out to all their people. Don't get me started, y'all. I'll do a separate stream to vent my frustrations with YouTube. Let's see. But yeah, eventually the creators are going to start pulling out and going somewhere else. Because we're just tired, man. We're tired of our money being played with. You know, like, it's not so, we don't, at least I can only speak for myself, you know, because I didn't go into it with money bags in my eyes. I was like, I'll probably eventually be able to get monetized, and that would be nice. That'll be cool to have a little side check coming in. I didn't expect to be able to retire off of YouTube, but what I did expect was a little bit more consistency and a little bit more understanding behind the numbers. We have no understanding behind the numbers. We're just told, hey, this is how much you made that month. Okay, can you prove that? Or is this just something that you're making up? Like, who's in charge of this? Like, we have no insight into the numbers. It's just like, here it is. Take it or leave it. Don't get me started. Let me move on. Let's see here. Let's see. Right. It says, I ask, where were the psychologists when we needed info about narcissistic abuse? Nowhere to be found. I had to find the info on my own, internet and survivors. And I completely agree with you. And I feel like in many ways that's still the case. I feel like a lot of them are afraid to speak the reality of the situation. A lot of them are coming from their training, which is fine and understandable. But people need to hear it from more of a real life, day-to-day context. Does that make sense? And all they can really speak from is their book training, which is why I always have such a beef with it. And I have to reiterate constantly, I'm not against education. I'm against what education has a tendency to do to people, which is make them kind of dumb in the sense that everything they think now is the thought of someone else. So they can't even write a paper without citing 100 other people's thoughts. And my question is, when do your thoughts kick in? And when do you believe in your thoughts enough to where you don't have to bounce your thought off of someone else to prove it true? Because what about the first person who thought that up? Who did they bounce their thoughts off of? Nobody. They declared it to be true. They did their little research, maybe or maybe not. But at any rate, they put their idea out there. they claim that fame, but generally they didn't have anyone to bounce their idea off of. So why do we always have to verify what we think with others? That's my primary beef with education. But yes, you're absolutely correct. The info wasn't out there, you know? Let's see here. It was just a bunch of cliche nonsense. Let's see. Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. It says, just get rid of your TV, then wait a few years. You will heal in layers. Y'all, I have not watched TV at my house anyway. And really no one else's, to be honest. But I haven't turned my TV on in over a year. And I keep meaning to, because I don't want it to like waste away, my poor little TV. But I've got to the point where I wouldn't be able to sit down and watch TV. It would have to be on in the background, but I wouldn't even know what to watch at this point. It makes me feel very out of touch, but at the same time, it makes me feel better. Just like you said right here, it helps you heal in layers. There's something about that TV. I think it's the fact that you can't control what you're going to ingest. At minimum with the internet, you clicked on that. You know what I mean? Like you clicked on it, you can click off. But with TV, if it's just on, you really don't know what you're going to hear or see next. And then you have to process that whether you wanted to or not. I think that has something to do with it. Let's see. It says liars will always bring out the nutcases to obfuscate. Come on, y'all, with these words. You know, I've been practicing the word brewery since our last live stream. Obfuscate the facts. Like infiltrators in a protest march. They come in to make everyone legit look bad, right? And I wonder how much of that is happening too. Let's see. I'm actually very pro-mask, but if you knew me at all, I would have been like, this is fantasy land for me. Like, I'm sad to see it coming to an end because I've always had an awareness of colds and flus and germs. Always. And I'm like, man, I wish people, like when I first found out people overseas were wearing masks just as part of day-to-day life, I was like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So if they're cold, coughing and sneezing, they're keeping that mess to themselves. How considerate. I love it. I love that. Like I don't really wear makeup on a day-to-day basis like that anyway, but now I feel like I can go out with half of my face done and it's fantastic. Woo! I'm like, I am all busted up under this mask, but you'll never know. Hello. Just flutter my eyelashes. Hello. Oh, it's busted up under this mask, baby. But how are you doing? How you doing? Oh, like, oh, you look good. Take your mask. Oh, put it back on. All right, let's see here. Is that like a new catfishing, mask fishing? Like, man, I thought she was attractive and she took that mask off and yeeks. Yikes. Let's see here. So I want to close on this question. I should have closed. I'm going to read all your comments later, okay? Wait, what did that say? Hold on. I want to close on this because it's kind of what concerns me the most. I'm going to ask a series of questions. One of those questions is, what makes it real to you? See, and this is like a third video I was going to do. For those who don't believe anything that's happening right now, what would be believable to you? Like, what would make you actually go, oh my God, this is serious. Yes, we need to take these precautions to keep ourselves safe. Because I think part of what people are struggling with is we've just never been through something like this before. So it's new. So my question is, now that we've been through it before, if something similar were to happen, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. What if one of our, I don't know who our enemies are right now. I don't know who our international enemies are, but what if one of our international enemies declared openly that they had released a biological weapon in the United States that would take form over 30 days? Like, would that be believable? Or would it have to be like visible? Would you have to be able to see it in the air for it to be believable? Or would you have to lose like multiple people close to you for it to be believable? And these are sincere questions. I'm honestly asking, because what worries me is like if I had children, my primary worry would be, how can I keep my kids safe right now? You know, everyone's saying that half the crowd is saying this is all real and true. The other half is saying it's 100% fake. How do I keep my children and my family safe right now? So again, the questions I want to leave you guys with, and I'll leave the live open for a little bit once I mute so you guys can chit chat and finish up. But the question I'm asking is, what would make it real to you? What is real to you? Because it's not that I don't hear the concerns. It's that my big thing in my spirit is, but guys, what if it's true? Which they are saying it is. Like, and I've always been of the personal belief that you can't get that many actors and they're not that good. So what happens when, okay, let's play it both ways. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say y'all are right and none of this is true. Okay. All right. Well, what happens when it is true? Or are you basically saying you don't ever think anything like this could ever happen? Because it has happened before, Spanish flu. So, you know, what would make it real is what I'm asking. Like, would people have to be dropping dead within an hour for it to be real, in your face for it to be real? That's all I'm asking, because that helps tell me like how to keep myself safe, kind of, sort of, in a way. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. It was great catching up with you. Great talking to you. I'm going to mute, but I won't actually end the stream for about 5 minutes so you guys can talk, chit chat, finish up your conversations. And other than that, guys, whether you believe what's going on or you don't, I hope you find a way to stay safe through it all. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. You know what I mean? Keep your critical thinker cap on. Maybe start a scrapbook, because it might come down to paper, honey. When it comes down to proving what's real, like, no, I clipped it from the newspaper. Here it is. Here it is in the flesh. So anyway, y'all take care. Be well, and we'll talk again soon, okay? Bye.